In this video, we are going to look at a word problem scenario that can model a linear function. In this particular video, we are given 2 points that we can use to come up with this model. So that means that we're going to be using the slope formula for 2 points, y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So let's take a look at the scenario. The phone company Nextel has a monthly cellular plan where the customer pays a flat monthly fee and then a cost of money per minute used on the phone. If the customer uses 235 minutes, the monthly cost is $74.25. If the customer uses 75 minutes, the monthly cost is $50.25. Write a linear model that represents the total monthly cost as a function of the number of monthly minutes used. So the first couple facts that stood out to me were that I continued to see minutes and cost, minutes and cost. And we also see that in part A, it's asking us to come up with a linear model where the total monthly cost is a function of the monthly minutes used. So whenever you see something is a function of something, it's telling you that that fact before is your y and the fact after is your x. So y depends on x. So now we know that anytime we read something about minutes, it's an x value, and time we read something about money, it's a y value. So for me to use this points formula here, the slope formula for 2 points, I like to just record it in a table real quick so that it's very easy for me to jump into using that formula. So this will be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And if we simplify the numerator and the denominator, we get negative 24 over negative 160, which equals 0.15. So our slope is 0.15, and we're heading into step 3, which is now to get our initial value or our b value in a linear equation. So we typically, for this next step, can write it as y equals mx plus b. Even though we need to use function notation, we'll do that part last. And to do this next step, I could use point slope form, or I could just use slope intercept form and algebraically solve for the b. So right now I can grab one of these 2 facts in the table, so either the first pair or the second pair of facts, doesn't matter. And I'm going to substitute that in for my y and my x, and I'm going to use the slope that I just solved for and substitute that into this equation so that I can try to solve for b. So if we multiply this out, we get that this becomes 0.15 times 235 becomes 35.25. And to get b by itself, we would subtract 35.25 on both sides. And then we get that b is equal to 39. So now we have a slope, and now we have our y-intercept, and we'll put this together in function notation. So this will be f of x equals 0.15x plus 39. And whenever you are required to create an equation on paper, make sure you define your variables as well. What does the x variable represent? What does the y variable represent? And make sure that you include the units on your y variable as well. So part B says to use your model to find the total monthly cost if 766 minutes were used. So when you read a word problem, ask yourself, what 2 facts did they just give you? Monthly cost, that's our f of x variable, and 766 minutes, that's our x variable. So they gave us x and they're asking us to solve for y. So you grab that equation that you just came up with, and wherever you see x, you're going to substitute 766 in. So that's on the left side and on the right side. And then if you multiply 0.15 by 766 and add that to 39, you get 153.90. Make sure you state that in a sentence. So if 766 minutes were used, it will cost $153.90. Part C says, if you're on a budget and don't want to spend more than $125 this month on your cell phone bill, how many minutes can you use? Well, again, ask yourself, what did they give you? They gave you $125. Well, that's our f of x, cost of our bill. And how many minutes can we use? That's our x fact. So we're trying to solve for x when we know that y is 125. So grab that equation that you came up with, substitute 125 for f of x. That's your y value there. And we're solving for x. So to get x by itself, go ahead and subtract 39 on both sides first. And then you will divide both sides by 0.15 to isolate x. So x in this scenario is some type of repeated decimal, so 573.3 repeated. So to stay under the $125 budget, you can only use 573 minutes.